Wolfman from 2025. You'll never guess what kind of animal this man turns into. Theme song.
Kyle's Reviews! Kyle's Reviews!
If you want to see Wolfman, well, go to a theater. I don't normally review new movies, but I saw this one last Saturday and it just kind of disappointed me and kind of pissed me off. So I felt I had to get the word out not to see this. But we'll be spoiling it, but I mean, how much can you spoil it? It's a guy turns into a werewolf, and so it's not like there's a lot to spoil. And that kind of is a problem. A lot of it is the main guy being sick, and we're like, we know you're turning into a werewolf because we know the name of the movie. Maybe if they hadn't named it Werewolf, that might be better. So it is yet another case of waiting to get to the fireworks factory. We start off with a flashback to the main character as a kid. And his dad's kind of a jerk. Takes him out hunting and yells at him. And here for me was kind of one of the first things. The dad stops to point out,
Don't go anywhere near those. These are death cap mushrooms and they ain't kidding.
and then you're thinking, aha, that's going to be foreshadowing the future. But no, doesn't come up again. And then they encounter something, we're led to think is the titular Wolfman. Then we jump to present day. Okay, so we've established dad's a jerk. And in this first present day scene, we see the kid now grown up to be a dad himself. He's got a daughter and they're walking down the city street and the daughter does something that kind of is slightly dangerous.
Get down right now.
And he kind of yells at her. So I was like, okay, he apologizes. So he's like trying not to be the same stern, mean father that his dad was. And they have this cutesy thing. It's like, you have the skill where you could read my mind. And she puts his hand on his forehead and it's like, what am I thinking? And she's like,
I love my little girl.
So you're also thinking, okay, this is about parenting and trying not to pass on the trauma and being a good father and things like that. And then we also think, okay, this cutesy thing is really going to be how they save the day. No, not really. It comes up later, but no. And let's also review the things we've learned. We know that as a kid, this guy hunted with his dad, and his dad lived out in the middle of nowhere with guns in the house. So you think that when they get to dad's house, there's going to be guns there. No. So all this stuff doesn't really pay off. You're thinking, okay, it's going to pay off. It's going to be about the bad father, things like that. No. Then you think, okay, he has knowledge of guns, so he's going to use that. No. Oh, they're going to try to somehow trick the Wolfman into eating this deadly mushroom. No. None of that. So we have all this Chekhov's gun, and no, it's not really. And then, we also have the wife, played by Julia Garner. We learn she's a journalist. And, they're kind of like, not really a fight, but it's like, I wish you wouldn't do that. And he's like, oh, okay, come on. And, they're kind of having sort of a bumpy patch, but they're not really fighting. They're just like, we don't talk anymore. And then she says one point, she's like, oh, I'm worried about being a good mother. So you're like, oh, because he is a stay-at-home dad, basically. And she doesn't feel like she's very close to her daughter.
I don't even know if I'm good at that anymore.
You were a great writer. Come on.
I meant at spending time with my daughter.
It's like, okay, the rough marriage and not being close to the daughter is going to be important. No, that also just goes away. Later on, she's like, oh, I love you, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, that's it. So the movie starts off with all this stuff. It takes forever to go anywhere. And basically, once he does turn into a werewolf, that's all gone. And it's just typical run from the thing. So, and it just takes forever. So the movie is hour and 43 minutes. I went to the 12:30 showing. when he finally turns, I glanced at my fitness tracking watch, and it was around 1:45. So even if we take 20 minutes of trailers into account, that means it's more than, 45 minutes for him to start actually turning. Why? So what do we get of the monsters? Well, we get the werewolf to start, we don't really see very well. We get the scene, which is in a trailer with the moving truck, and that's it. So these characters, they build up this emotion and stuff, but then they drop it. Julie Garner gets nothing to do. And they don't even really act like people I think would act. They're getting chased. I think it's by just a animal. So they run in the house and they're like, okay, once the sun comes up, we're going to be able to go home. So it's a 2-story house. They don't go upstairs to like where the bedrooms and try to sleep on the bed. They sleep on the couch. The film does have a couple fun things that shows us this wolf vision, and they kind of do this in one of the trailers where he's losing his ability to understand language. And there is something there about losing your humanity. It's something about passing on the trauma. But as soon as it finally takes forever to get to the fireworks factory, as soon as it gets there, all that stuff's gone. So I'm giving Wolfman 2 thumbs down. This needs more wolf, man. Too much man, not enough wolf. Don't pay to see this. I was kind of going, so I married an axe murderer, man, the beat poetry, man. But I hope you like and subscribe, man.